Nice to have you here, man.
Yeah, good to be here, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I think it's man, I can't even quantify how long it's been since we've done a podcast. Like 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Fuck.
Yeah, because I had to take a break for a bit.
Yeah. Dude, there's been
Work
so much that's happened.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, to be quite honest. I mean, the sheer amount of insanity that has like taken place over the course of the last 14 months or so. I mean, over the past just the start of the year.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't think we even touched on the Charlie Kirk situation.
No, we didn't. No. But neither did the FBI. So
yeah, touche. Or they also haven't touched any of the financial crimes that have been going on either.
no, there aren't crimes.
No, crime is legal.
Mhm.
At least that's like what one of my favorite YouTubers says, CoffeeZilla. I don't know if you watched his videos
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I'm kind of at a loss as to where to start here. But I guess, do we want to stick current with this year? Because everything else is old news.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, why not? It's strange. Like looking back at 9/11 as we were kids
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and not essentially really remembering anything.
Mhm.
We just kind of grew up and this war was taking place. Multiple wars,
Right.
actually. And from what we could tell, the generation before us seemed to support everything for the most part
Mhm.
and believed a lot of what they were told.
Right.
And it was sold to them over a long period of time.
Mhm.
And there was also a traumatic event that allowed America to collect the world's sympathy
Right.
and feel like it was theirs to do so and utilize it in a certain way.
Mhm.
But now we're in a place where all of that sympathy has been squandered. And it feels like this is our version of Iraq.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
would agree.
that's what it feels like. This is our version of Iraq, and yet it wasn't sold to us over a long period of time. It happened very suddenly,
Right.
and for the most part, the American public seems to not support it.
Mm-mm.
That's what all the polls state.
Yeah, I haven't talked to a single person personally that is favorable in this. It's either, politically they don't support it, financially they don't support it because they're paying more at the gas pump. And it is very fascinating. The war on terror, it's kind of gone. People are actually supporting the regime of our opposition right now,
Mhm.
which is pretty crazy because it's not like those are good people either necessarily. It's just
Mhm.
we've fucked up so bad in our own country that everybody just hates our country from the inside out right now.
Yeah. It really is quite fascinating how we've been dragged into this. And if the war was supported by the public, we would already have boots on the ground. This
Yeah.
war would be over.
Mhm.
If it had the support of the public, it would be over. It
Mhm.
would be over. But that's not the case, and that's why this is becoming a long, drawn-out attrition war.
Mhm.
And it's so fascinating. I'm a nobody. I'm some fucking idiot off the street. And yet you can see from a military strategic standpoint and just geographic strategic standpoint, this America can't win this one. Or
Right.
if they win it, it'll be at a cost that doesn't really seem like a win.
Right. Yeah. It's a win-lose no matter what way you look at it.
Right.
Kind of a lose-lose actually.
Right. It's because the American military industrial complex is, as it currently stands, designed to do lethal, precise military strikes. And through those military strikes, cut off leadership and important military assets.
Mhm.
In turn, the lethality and terror of those weapon systems cause a collapse or a acquiescence from the opposing party.
Mhm.
But America's finally ran into an opponent that has specifically designed their system to counteract that.
Right. I don't know as much about that as you do, but I do remember that you were kind of putting forth some comparisons to Rome and some of the strategies that they had going on.
Oh, yeah. So the Iranians are utilizing a strategy that is over 2 millennium old.
Right.
It's over 2,000 years old. It's called the Fabian Strategy.
Right.
And it the genesis of it is this guy named Quintus Fabius Maximus, who was a consul in general of the Roman Republic around like 200 and some odd BC when they were at war with Carthage. Like, think about what I just said. They are utilizing a strategy that is over 2,000 years old, and it's working.
Yeah, that is pretty sad. To be fair, we don't really have great leadership right now.
Right. It's just odd that you could just read, like, you could watch half a podcast and read a quarter of a book and understand what the Iranians are doing and how they are doing it successfully. It really does not take that much research. But Fabius Maximus Quintus was this consul. He was a politician in Rome. And during times of great turmoil in the Roman Republic, they elect a person for a period of 6 months to be dictator. It is a system in which the Roman Republic is under such great threat that they need to vest power into a single person so that they can get a particular objective done, usually a military opposition threat.
Right. So consistent leadership so that there's no diverting paths.
Right. There's no dissension. Yeah. There's one specific goal, and it is being prosecuted by one specific person. And they are elected to do that specific job. And so the Second Punic War, it was the second war in a series of wars between the Republic of Carthage and the Republic of Rome. This is kind of early. It's leading up to late Roman Republic. This is mid-Roman Republic. This is the closest that Rome ever comes to death, is the series of wars with Carthage. The first war was waged by this guy named Hasdrubal. I believe that was his name, Barca. And he was the father of Hannibal Barca, the guy who later prosecuted the Second Punic War. It was this war between Carthage, which is this empire in North Africa, right on... Yeah. Kind of near the center of the Mediterranean, and then Rome is obviously in Italy. As each of these empires expanded out from their like local continent, expanded out over the Mediterranean, they came into contact with each other. The first war was between them over Sicily. Rome won. The Second Punic War was a few decades later, prosecuted by Carthage's leader's son, Hannibal Barca, just a brilliant military strategist and genius. He decided, rather than fighting Rome in North Africa or in Sicily or in Spain, I'm going to invade Italy. So that's what he does. He hires a series of like mass army mercenaries and invades Rome through the north. He actually crosses the Alps in order to do that. And the Romans didn't expect him to do that, which in actuality he didn't want to do. He didn't want to cross the Alps. It was a route that was forced upon him because the Romans cut him off along the route that led along the sea into northern Rome. And so they're like, oh, we cut him off here. He's not going to face us in a Thermopylae style direct engagement. That would be stupid. He would lose, obviously. Yeah. And so obviously he's not going to go around into the Alps. And that's exactly what he did. And then he invades Rome. He massacres the Romans at the Battle of the Trebia River. Roughly a year later, they send an even larger army to meet him in northern Italy. He massacres them at the Battle of Lake Trasimene. And so in their dire hour of need, they elect this guy, Fabius Maximus, Quintus Fabius Maximus, as their dictator for 6 months. And he decides, okay, in order to beat Hannibal, we're just not going to fight him. We're not going to fight him. We're not going to send out a big, massive army and face him in the field. He's a strategic genius. He'll crush us, and he knows it. And so I'm just not going to even engage with him. I'm going to follow his army around Italy. I'm going to harass it. I'm going to cut off his supply lines when I can. Anytime he tries to approach me for a battle, I'm just going to back off. I'm going to go to the higher ground. I'm going to make it very disadvantageous for him to engage with me because he wants to use his cavalry on an open field, which he does over and over again. Yeah. And it's very successful. He does scorched earth campaign, meaning Hannibal's army can't live off the land. And disrupts the supply lines, makes it very, very difficult for Hannibal to be in Italy. But it's not like, what do I call it? Politically advantageous for Quintus to pursue this plan. Right. Because the Romans, they're like, no, fuck that. We're not going to be bitches. We're not going to like just not roll fight over him. Yeah. He's going through our country. He's burning our fields. He's attacking our allies and trying to turn them traitor against us. We need to face him in the field. And Fabius says, no, you guys are fucking idiots. We obviously can't win in the field, not under the current conditions. And we need to come up with a new tactic in order to face him in the field. And we can't do that right now. He can't lay siege to Rome. He doesn't have the manpower or the means to do it. So we're safe. He maintains this for 6 months, but eventually Fabius's dictatorship ends and he has to give power back, which he does. And the Romans elect this guy, Paulus, and another consul. They're 2 consuls, and they raise 2 massive armies, roughly 80,000 Romans. And then they go out and pursue Hannibal in the field. And they meet him at the Battle of Cannae, where Hannibal pulls off this tactic called double envelopment, and he massacres roughly 60,000 Romans in an afternoon. He kills them with swords and spears by hand over the course of 7 to 8 hours.
That's ridiculous, dude.
And he kills one of the consuls, most of the major leadership for the Roman political system and military.
Fucking hell, dude.
80,000 Romans go out. 60,000 of them are murdered. Roughly 10,000 of them are enslaved and captured, and then ransomed back or executed.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
Yes. And so they're like, okay, maybe we should do this whole asymmetric warfare thing that Fabius has come up with. And that's exactly what they do. Hannibal basically spends almost a decade marching up and down Italy looking for a big open battle. And the Romans just continually deny it to him. And they make his life incredibly hard to stay in Italy.
Yeah.
And while they're doing that, they go and attack the Carthaginian holdings and colonies in Spain, because Spain is a very high resource, natural resource region. And that's where the Carthaginians have a lot of colonies. So while they're harassing Hannibal's army in Italy, keeping him there, making it very difficult for him to be there, they are going and attacking his supply lines and foreign resources and his allies, making the Carthaginian position very economically difficult and difficult to maintain. And then also the entire time, his guys are aging in the field. Some of the mercenaries are leaving. He's consistently denied reinforcements for Carthage. And at this time, Rome comes up with their own general, this guy named Scipio Africanus. He goes to Spain, attacks them there, defeats Hannibal's brother on multiple occasions, and then he eventually invades North Africa and attacks Carthage itself. Hannibal is called back, and he is defeated at the Battle of Zama. Scipio finally is the panacea to Hannibal. They finally found a military strategist and genius who is of Hannibal's equal. And also, it's just Hannibal's guys are old. They're worn out, and he just doesn't have the same amount of money and resources to hire the mercenaries that he needs, because Carthage's system is based off of mercenaries. They're merchant shippermen. And they're a republic, and they just hire their military assets instead of raising them locally like the Romans did.
Dude, that's a wild ass story, man.
I know. And that happened in 250 BC, or no, 218 BC was the Second Punic War. And Sun Tzu came out with Art of War in roughly the 400s BC.
Right.
And this is one of his classic lessons from it. And these guys came up with these strategies in different locations. They never ever came in contact with each other, but fight them where they aren't. Asymmetric warfare. Do not confront your opposition in a frontal assault in the field when your military assets are not the same as theirs. What is Iran doing? They don't need a navy. They don't need an air force. Yeah. They have missiles, and they have military assets that they can deploy at will at range. And they can, what are they doing? Just like the Romans did to the Carthaginians, disrupting supply lines. They cut off the Strait of Hormuz, and then they're attacking the fueling depots, the desalinization plants, and all of the major assets that the Gulf states need to sustain their economies. And they were making it very economically disadvantageous for America to maintain this war.
Right.
They're doing the exact same thing.
It's so funny that it's actually working though, and can work with the modern technology that we have too.
Right.
It's actually ridiculous. There are a few differences, of course, that I can spot, but yeah, just at its basic, it definitely mirrors the same exact no confrontation like policy type of thing.
Right.
Because they would get massacred as well.
Yeah. If like they would have a bunch of old Russian tanks if they met our bunch of M1 Abrams into the field.
Yeah.
They would be totally destroyed.
Yeah.
But
there's no need for it. Yeah.
Why should they? There is no incentive for them to do otherwise.
That's fucking wild, dude. It's kind of makes me think about like the Vietnam War as well with like guerrilla warfare, you know? It wasn't very often like direct confrontation. It was guerrilla warfare. I mean, it's obviously different, but that does make me think of that just on an off note.
Right. And people consider Fabius, many historians consider Fabius to be the genesis of modern guerrilla tactics.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first one to do this. Fight them where they aren't. Why should I fight you in the field?
Right.
Why?
Did he have any booby traps or anything like that out of curiosity? Did he dig like giant pits or anything like that?
Yeah, so like he would station on a hilltop, he would fortify it, stuff like that. And then as he's following Hannibal's army, he's like burning fields, he's moving livestock or killing the livestock, setting fires, making it very difficult for Hannibal to set camp, making it difficult for him to attack his position or anything like that.
Where did Hannibal's story end? Did it end in that battle? Was he killed there?
No, he fled the battle. He escaped and then later committed suicide, or he was assassinated by poison, I believe in Greece. Just a few years later. Yeah.
I'm surprised that he fled if he was so like such a big soldier, you know, so honorable.
Well, no, it was because like the Romans had won and they wanted Hannibal's head on a plate. So, because it's like he'd caused so much bloodshed for them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he, like you said, killed
60,000
people.
Right. And he killed multiple consuls. Like imagine killing our president. That's what he did to multiple presidents, essentially.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a wild story, man.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me want to learn more about ancient Rome and the battles that took place. I know that you're super big into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a huge knowledge base on that, but
yeah. I mean, but like that's just like that's a very basic, low level look at this whole conflict strategically. And all it takes is just reading one single history book. Like I can fully understand what's happening and how they're waging this war.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like that's mostly why I wanted to have this conversation, because like our parents' generation never had an outlet like this where they can look at something that's happening in the world, something of great import, and they can sit down and have a conversation and talk about it and document it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And then disseminate that same perspective, because it's just I don't understand what the objective is. Like this isn't like you can't do boots on the ground. You can't nuke them. Why are you still at war with them? Like, because the whole Fabian strategy is only one aspect of it. Our entire military industrial complex is an inverted system in comparison to where it was in World War II. Like we're basically doing the exact same mistakes that the Axis powers did during World War II in terms of distribution of resources for military assets.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do understand what you mean. Spreading yourselves too thin.
Exactly. And investing in resources and weapon systems that are complex and complete instead of focusing on mass good enough stuff. So, for example, an F-35 fighter jet, $115 to $130 million on a good day. On a good day. The fuel system for it is incredibly... How should I say this? Delicate. So the fuel has to be stored at a particular temperature and in a particular way, and it's very delicate. And were it be disturbed, it's very difficult to at that point put that fuel into the F-35 and have it work.
Right. Yeah. I've watched a video on that before, actually. Yeah. It's not like you can go out and refuel it anywhere. It has to be very specific.
Right. An F-22 Raptor costs even more than that, like over $220 million a piece.
Yeah.
And then all of the maintenance that goes along with it. So like if a weapon system like that is heavily damaged in the field, the amount of maintenance and the cost of rebuilding it to the state where it's deployable again is astronomical.
Yeah.
And like that was the exact case for the Germans when they were waging their war in World War II. Whereas, so like, let me go back. Like the Iranians are like flying out these drones and these cruise missiles and ballistic missiles that they have produced in mass and that they can do so and deploy cheaply and effectively.
Right.
Like the Ashad drone, $50,000 at most.
Yeah.
And they can deploy hundreds of them at a time. So the amount of explosive that you can transport from one location to another and accurately is twice that of the F-35. And
Right.
it costs a fraction of the cost.
Right. And it doesn't really matter if you intercept like something that's transporting that, because there are so many of them.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't even make sense to waste resources on destroying that.
Right. And like the U.S. has not even 1,000 F-35s in its entire stock at this point.
Right.
So like there's that. And then, like the Tomahawk missile, $4 to $5 million, it takes almost 18 months to process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
Yeah. And so like if we look at the military assets that Germany and America had during World War II, we can just compare them really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The Tiger tank, the feared, terrifying, absolute monster of a tank that was deployed to the field by the Germans, and anytime it came in contact with Allied armor, it usually massacred them for the most part. Now the Germans only made 1,300 of them, roughly. The Americans made over 50,000 Sherman tanks.
Mm-hmm.
The Tiger tank is incredibly complex, tons of armor, giant gun. If it sees another tank, it's probably going to slice it in half.
Right. But not 20.
But not 20 of them.
Yeah.
And which sometimes is the ratio that the Allies had versus the Germans in the field with their tanks. But also at the same time, the Sherman wasn't designed to do tank-on-tank duels.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't its purpose. It's infantry support. So it's when infantry needs help to clearing a fortified position, stuff like that, or it needs help escorting from one location to another. It needs protection, things like that.
Yeah. Weren't there pretty big, maybe I'm misremembering, but pretty big issues with the tracks on the Tigers?
Yes, because they were so heavy. Because
Yeah.
it's like a 60-ton tank in comparison to the Sherman, which was like a 30-ton tank.
Right.
And so the Tiger would consistently get stuck in the mud, which is the issue it ran into in the Eastern Front going up against the Russians.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. With the thawing and
Right. And it's like an incredibly complex weapon system. It's like very, very craftsman and precise. And the amount of maintenance time it takes for it is enormous. So a Sherman tank, for every 10 hours it's in the field, it needs 1 hour maintenance. It is the exact inverse for the Tiger. For every hour it's in the field, it needs 10 hours of maintenance. So an entire day of its active deployment will take a week for it to repair and get back to where it's at fighting strength.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly expensive, and it's very difficult for them to manufacture in mass because the way the German military system was designed is very craftsman precise. If it's not perfect, you can't deploy it. Mm-hmm. Whereas the American system at the time was, we're putting out a Sherman a day.
Right.
And
mass
we can
produce
do it,
that shit.
and we can do it from multiple factories all at the same time. And are the Shermans perfect? No, but they're good enough, and we have a lot of them.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
like we look at what the Iranians were doing with their drones. They don't need a giant army to deploy to the field. They don't need a navy to keep you off of their shores. They don't even need an air force. They have plenty of surface to air assets that can knock stuff out of the sky. We've seen that. Like, so for the supposed invincibility of the U.S. military's air power, like we've lost a decent amount of air assets in this whole thing. So like, I don't understand what the point of this is. I don't get it, man. Like, listen to how I just described it. Like, it doesn't seem like I'm saying anything that crazy.
No.
Like, these are pretty like obvious and pragmatic, logical observations.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people, at least people that are in support of this war, because I know there are some people out there.
Right.
I just don't think that they're really paying too much attention to what's going on. They just hear American military. They know that we spend billions upon billions of dollars per year, and they think that, yeah, we're invincible. But Yeah, there are lots of areas that we fall short. That's for sure. It's
Right.
not just an impenetrable military force that we have.
Right. I mean, it's like the Axis powers weren't during World War II. They knew they didn't have the military industrial capacity to match the Americans or match the British. So they thought like, okay, we're going to build incredibly craftsmen, brilliant, high expensive weapon systems to counteract this. But the V1 and V2 rockets had medium kind of meddling kind of success because they just weren't accurate enough for the computer systems at the time. Or at least the tracking systems for the time.
Yeah. Not to mention that's kind of, with Germany over engineering their stuff. That was like a really big theme that Adolf himself would also kind of push, because he had like his giant mega projects as well that he sank so many engineering resources into that could have been developing something much simpler to put out there and mass produce as well. Could you imagine, dude, if they had produced Tigers and something along the lines of the Sherman? That would have been a big problem.
Right. I mean, they came out with the Panther kind of late in the war to counteract the T-34 because it wasn't as complex and as problematic as the Tiger, but it had a big enough gun where it could go up against the T-34 tank or the Sherman tank and wreck it for the most part.
Right.
But they came up with it too late in the war, and again, it was
really
still
mass produced though.
No, they still couldn't mass produce it like they wanted to because just the nature of German engineering and their obsession with precision and craftsmanship.
Right. And by that point, we had destroyed a lot of their steel manufacturing facilities and stuff, which obviously you need.
Right. And that was the reason why they were losing so bad on the Eastern Front, is because they took all of the 88 millimeter anti-tank guns on the Eastern Front that they were using to kill all of the T-34s and kill all of the Russians. And they had to bring them back to Germany and place them as flak batteries in order to counter the air campaign. And that's kind of what accelerated the Eastern Front losing campaign that they were on. But, and then even the P-51, again, costs half the price of the Messerschmitt 262 jet fighter. Like the Germans invented jet fighters. It could go almost 100 miles an hour faster than the P-51. Yeah. But again, it didn't matter because they only produced a little over 1,000 of them. And we had tens of thousands of P-51s.
Yeah. I mean, that's supported by the propaganda posters as well. You can see, the American industrial arm flexing right there with all the planes that we've mass produced. The sky would black out with how many planes we had up there, dude, during a lot of the raids and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it makes me wonder and kind of want to speculate on how we got here, how our industrial complex arrived at this point.
History repeats itself, man.
I guess. I mean, because I guess it's some of this, it's dubious to say this, but similar affects or similar attitudes of we're always going to be on the offensive. We're always going to be the bully in any situation. We're always going to be the aggressor. So we don't need to build weapon systems that we can deploy en masse and wage over a large front against an enemy in an attrition warfare style campaign.
Yeah.
Because it's if I'm a military contractor and I'm going to the Pentagon, I know the check's going to clear. What's the incentive for me to build a cost-effective weapon system that could be deployed in mass? No, I'm going to deploy something that's expensive, looks shiny, is just really fast. I'm just going to build a weapon system that catches people's eyes.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm sure some of the generals see some of the weapon system as toys. So I'm going to build the shiny new toy that is going to have a very expensive price tag and requires an expensive and dubious amount of maintenance in order to maintain. Because what is the incentive for me to do otherwise? Yeah. So it's hubris, it's greed, it's yeah.
No, I agree. I was actually going to say there's probably some merit in assuming that that ego has a lot to do with that choice, because America, we've always been conditioned to believe that our military is number one, which I think at home obviously it is. We're not going to be invaded anytime soon, but could you imagine if we had subpar explosives or stuff like that, you know, that you send out in mass, like people would not view us as number one if we don't have that, you know, giant warhead.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll talk about like the Navy and just just the means of having to so-called prosecute this campaign to arrive at a position of victory. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
All right,
Sound good?
I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're back.
We are back. We got a few more libations in us too.
That is correct.
Yeah. Where did we leave off? We left off just talking about mass production of weapons.
Right, and just like the deployment of military assets and the production capacity of each party within this conflict.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like if we were winning the war, if this war was winnable, and winnable in a way that we can define as winnable,
Yeah.
it would be over already.
Yeah. I agree.
We all know that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
So what are we still doing fighting this?
Right, because I guess it's just to save face.
Yeah. That's the vibe I get too.
I don't understand any other way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just surprising to me that like you look at these people going on television and telling you the story of this conflict that's going on, and they keep having to make amendments to previous statements of when this thing would be over by, and descriptions of how we're winning and metrics to describe winning.
Right.
And yet, if we were winning in the way you initially described and how you predicted this would go out, this should have been over already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
Well, hopefully it'll be over soon. I think potentially a lot of this not ending yet does have to do with some of the alleged insider trading that's been going on, though.
Right.
Because the longer this goes on, the longer we kick the can down the road of having some sort of negotiation, the more volatile the markets are going to be. And dude, if you had insider information, this would definitely be the time to make billions upon billions of dollars.
Right.
You make bets on the Strait of Hormuz being closed or open, you know, oil as well. You very much know how that whole thing goes, you know.
This is a fact that I'm stating. This isn't my opinion. This isn't some faux journalism. But yeah, the White House had to put out a memo to its own staff telling them not to bet on prediction markets in regards to policy actions that members of the State Department are taking. And they had insider knowledge prior to these changes or implementations of policy being announced and are making bets on it. You would only put out a memo like that if people were doing it.
Yeah. And honestly, I think this is my opinion, again, not a fact, but I think a lot of that has to do the memo. They probably don't really care at the end of the day because they're not going to prosecute. It's more so just to cover their own ass. So if somebody is like publicly outed for doing that, it's like, well, we told them not to do it. So sorry.
Right. And it's just, I don't think this is an opinion. This is a very basic observation of why Congress has not voted on an act of war.
Yeah.
Which is, if they don't vote on the act of war and this war ends the way we're all think it's going to be, which is going to be bad for both sides, and it's going to be looked back upon with a very negative perspective on it, then they can say, well, I didn't vote for the war.
That's true. I didn't even consider that.
You can basically deny any culpability for participation in this thing. You can kind of just see how it shakes out. And by not voting for it, you can say like, oh, I was for it or against it. And you can kind of manipulate the narrative on your participation for this so-called conflict.
Super true. Yeah.
Which is wild, right?
Yeah, that is super true. It's weird because, Trump is such a polarizing figure. So it's really hard for these career politicians to like look at it and be like, I'm going to choose this side or this side, because they don't know where the power pendulum is going to swing. So if they choose the wrong side, they're fucked. And then there's their career down the drain. They're working
call me crazy, but I don't know. Exhibiting behavior like that would lead one to conclude that the person behaving like that has a lack of values or principles.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be a wild thing to say.
For sure. And there certainly could be an argument made that certain other countries' interests might be placed above ours.
Right.
know?
Right. We're just not. It's
like
funny because it's like, you especially know we have to tiptoe around what we want to say right now.
Yeah. This is just a giant bit, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just kidding around. Please don't assassinate me.
But I mean, I just think
the country that shall not be named. We'll refer to them as that. The country that shall not be named. Yeah, it's just it's never been so transparent. It's never been so blatant.
No, I think a lot of people don't feel taken care of in our current United States. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people feel like other countries have been prioritized over it. Mm-hmm. Certain countries with blue and white flags, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It's entirely possible, in the words of Joe Rogan. Yeah. It's just, I don't know where... Like it's never been so obvious that someone is bullshitting the public. It's never been so transparent in the history of America, or I think in the history of any nation, where the people in charge are prosecuting a political motive that the public completely and utterly disagrees with. I mean, I don't feel like it's a very contentious thing to say in stating that, because if you just look at the presidency's approval ratings right now, it's the lowest he's ever had.
Right.
And it's odd because traditionally American war presidents have incredibly high approval ratings.
Right.
If you Americans typically love a good war, but that only works if the war is sold to them.
Right. Yeah. This war is so weird.
It was so abrupt.
Yeah, exactly. It's super weird in that effect, because the reason why the American public really likes the war is because, it's sold to them and they buy stocks, and the stocks usually go up. Like, production goes up. Our general economics typically look pretty good, it's the boom after the war as well. You make a fuck ton of money on the stock market. That's how a lot of millionaires have been made, like old money. But
also, you give the common man a public enemy, one that's kind of obscured and not necessarily always well defined, but it's an objective in which to rally behind the flag against something in opposition to America's interests.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But it's not been the case with this one. It just stock market crash after stock market crash.
Right.
Trillions of dollars liquidated within 24 hours type of thing. Mm-hmm. It's super weird. And gold especially, dude. I'm big into gold and precious metals.
Right, precious metals are taking hard hits. Yeah,
dude, they dumped during a time when uncertainty should dictate that they should go up, because that's not fiat currency, it's not paper currency, it's a finite amount. So that should be going up.
Yeah.
But people just don't have the money to buy it, and people are too nervous to buy it.
Right is left.
So weird, bro.
Up is down, down is up.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs living together. It doesn't make any sense. And I think what appealed about the most recent campaign from the White House is this supposedly unapologetic, unabashed guarantee towards American ascendancy. Mm-hmm. And yet, all of the most recent actions of this administration have assured America's all but recession.
Yeah. Besides for the people that stand to profit from it.
Exactly. Yeah. Which again isn't most people. Mm-hmm. So when you define America by its people, again, it guarantees their recession, their decline. which is strange that this is like the exact antithesis of what most people were hoping for.
Yeah, what was expected.
What was expected and promised and said, yeah. It's incredible, really. God, it's kind of astounding. It's astounding. It's just so like, funny. In order to prosecute this war, you need to be able to land a probably 1 million-man army on the continent.
Yeah, it's got to be a full sweep.
Right. And in order to do that, you have to get multiple carrier groups close to the land in which they will be vulnerable to cruise missiles. I mean, there's a reason why the Gerald R. Ford is fucking nowhere near Iran right now. Because it's a giant ship. It's highly vulnerable. It costs $15 billion in order to make. And it's slow.
Yeah.
And it's like, its weapon systems, we're finding out, are not up to snuff in terms of being able to defend against these drones and missile and ballistic missile systems.
Yeah, which they can send 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because they have so many of them. Man.
Right. They have designed their strategic system to be an exact counter to American military might.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very, again, it's very similar to previous military tactics and overall strategic deployments, where in World War I, multiple powers invested in these high cost, incredibly complex things called dreadnaughts, where essentially dreadnaughts covered in guns, high caliber, high precision, high distant guns. But they were so craftsmen, so expensive to make that if you deployed them in the field and they took any serious damage, it would take weeks, if not months, to repair them. And they were incredibly expensive to not just deploy, but maintain and repair. So most of the powers never really deployed them because essentially it's glass cannons going up against each other. Whoever lands first is probably going to win. And then if you take any damage in return, is it really a win? It's highly sinkable. It was a highly sinkable ship. And the Gerald R. Ford, while it's highly technologically capable and the amount of explosive and damage it can deploy to a region in mass and at scale and quickly is absolutely astounding. But they've poured like so much technology into it that it's cost an insane amount in order to work and deploy. And there's apparently like 10 more of these on order that they're building, at least the Ford class carriers. But it's just like all you have to do is look at a history book and you know exactly how this goes. That's why Donald Trump's like his plan to build more battleships. Like when he announced a battleship, anyone who's read any book at the Naval War College is like, that's fucking stupid. Like that's not a good idea. There's a reason they stopped designing them. It's because they're vulnerable and they can't deliver damage like a fleet carrier can. Like the Yamato and the Musashi, and then as well as the Bismarck and Tirpitz, all of those are Axis high-cost battleships that were deployed during World War II, and they were all sunk pretty quickly as soon as they were deployed, and they almost delivered no damage to the opponents they were facing because 20-mile range on their guns usually, and then they're going up against a fleet carrier, which has a range of 400 to 500 miles, in which they could deliver dive bombers and torpedo missiles. Makes no sense.
No competition.
Yeah. It's just, so like we look at this, like we step back and we look at this overall strategic picture. We have this inverted military industrial capacity that is not designed to wage a war in which we need mass amount of weapon systems that are just good enough and cost effective and easy to maintain. And then you combine it with an enemy that has designed their defense system and offensive weapon systems to be able to sustain and prosecute attrition warfare with a strategy that is over 2 millennia old. And for all intents and purposes, they've perfected it because they know that if they get nuked, that they'll be essentially like dragging the rest of the world into oblivion with them. And like America, that's not an option. You can't just go nuking other countries.
Yeah.
Especially when you're the aggressor.
It's basically just a stalemate
Right. And
from,
we can't
from the get-go.
Right, and we can't invade with a multi-million man army because the sheer amount of casualties that America would sustain in the process would be astronomical. And also, I'll call it right now, boots on the ground, mass man invasion. First few weeks there would be protests.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Within a few months, there would be riots.
Internally here in the U.S., it would not be be well received.
After a couple weeks, there would be riots. Maybe within the first several.
Mm-hmm. I would say in the first week.
That has always been the great power of democratic societies is they get the consent of the people, and then they're able to deploy military assets in such great capacity and mass that they almost always win. Mm-hmm. But that only ever works when you have the consent of the governed.
Yeah, which you have to sell them on, which they haven't done.
Right.
Going back to the beginning of the episode here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we had, in World War II, the German high command was lying to the German public about how the war was going a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because they knew that their position was dubious because they're a totalitarian state and they don't have the exact consent of the governed. So if they hide the truth from the governed, then they don't really have to get their consent. But that's just not the case here. Anytime a democratic society has consent to the governed and has deployed troops in mass, that has and always will be their strongest military position. Always. Right. But you don't have the consent of the governed. You're doing the exact opposite of what the governed who voted you into office requested.
Right. I mean, one of the big running points was no new wars,
Right.
That was a quote that was spread a lot.
You hamstrung yourself.
Yeah. It's just...
You put yourself in an impossible position, and it's like, we're just two normal dudes talking about this. I don't think myself to be well-educated or incredibly well-informed. And this is a pretty basic observation. But again, maybe it's because of their elitism. Maybe it's because of the class of people that they are and their state and position in society. Maybe it's somehow put blinders on them and they can't see what's quite obvious to you and me.
Right. I mean, at the same time, I would just argue that they don't care.
Yeah.
I honestly just don't think they don't care because, dude, they're making so much money through poly market, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist.
Also, they're beholden to a lot of people who donated a lot of money to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they owe some favors, man. They got to scratch their back.
Or maybe they're being blackmailed by someone and they're being forced into this. I don't know who could be blackmailing them. It's hard to say. I mean, it's probably it'd be weird if it was some foreign state.
No way.
No, that'd be crazy
that wouldn't
if they were
make any
doing
sense
that. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, someone who's known for assassinating people and getting to people who are typically ungettable, and they're really good at doing blackmail and putting people in dubious positions in order to get what they want out of them politically. But that's a crazy thing to say. That's obviously a conspiracy
that sounds like
theory.
The deep state.
That sounds like it's obvious conspiracy theory what I just talked about there. So
yeah. By the way, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they were the only people involved.
Right, quite obviously.
In the ring.
Yeah, Jeff.
But I mean, shit, dude, we could. Man,
we're not even go down that. But
yeah, I could yap for an hour on that one, couple hours actually. But no, I just don't think they care, man. I really don't think they care because they're making so much money that their greed overweighs any need for approval from the American people. If you look at it, he's already served one term. He's about to have his second term. All he has to do is just finish this out. He's not going to run again. Maybe he's going to, I've seen a lot of people theorize that he's going to go for some sort of dictatorship type route. We'll see. I don't think that's really going to be possible. I think at that point there would actually be a revolution, but
yeah.
No, he's making so much money, man. I don't think he cares. Him and his people.
Have you heard about the Samson Protocol?
No.
Okay. So
sounds really familiar though.
The Samson Protocol is a tactic to be utilized as a method of last resort by the country who shall not be named.
Okay.
To where should that country be threatened to an existential, there's an existential threat.
We're talking nukes.
Nukes, or the home country has been invaded and territories being lost in mass,
Okay.
and the position is completely untenable. The Samson Protocol is essentially the launching of thermonuclear weapons in order to terminate the threat and drag any and all combatants into oblivion with said country.
So it's just mutually assured destruction type of scenario.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what Hitler said? It was a quote that was attributed to Hitler. Let's actually pull it up real quick.
I got
And
you.
then I'll just edit around this famous quote attributed to Adolf during the last few years of the war. "We shall not capitulate. No, never. We may be destroyed, but if we are, we shall drag a world with us. A world in flames."
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Does that sound any somewhat similar to what I just described?
Yeah, it absolutely does. That is mutually assured destruction.
What a grand irony. What a grand irony.
God. And then there's billions of people on the planet that just want to fucking live
Yeah.
and do their thing, man.
Yeah, because as much as he was, as far as he was concerned, he was Germany. So if he should fall, Germany should come with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have that grandiose image of yourself,
yeah, this supremacy.
it makes sense, you know?
Yeah. But it's strange, man. Like we're just two dudes like drinking White Claws talking about ancient Rome. And it's completely and utterly applicable to what we're experiencing today. And it's ominous and strange.
It is, yeah.
It's very, very weird.
That quote is really terrifying though. Truly.
Yeah, but that's exactly what he said. He saw the end in sight, and that was his perspective on the world. If we should go down, we'll drag the world with us. And it's scary that similarity.
It is, yeah. I think a lot of people do have that mentality though too. It's like, this is probably grabbing at straws, but I know that sometimes people, when they're sick, they're like, "Oh, fuck it, I'm already sick. I'm gonna go out and get everybody else sick so they can be." Misery loves company. Kind of boils down to that, and this is obviously an extreme example right there. The Samson Protocol is what it's called.
Yeah, the Samson Protocol. You can Google that and look that up. And
I think a lot of countries probably have that.
Right. But do they really have it integrated into their also like mythological or like theology as well? Because
probably not.
That's what it's derived from. So like the conviction in that belief is probably of greater import. I would assume so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's almost like this divine assurance, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I do know for a fact that Russia definitely has something similar.
Same. Yeah, we have it with Russia and Russia has it with us. It's called MAD. But yeah, it's just, I know you don't like talking about politics all that much.
Well, this is kind of like stuff that's I'd be willing to stamp my name to, because
I just don't.
It's obvious. You're not. If you don't agree, then you're not fucking paying attention.
Like you're telling me that the sky isn't blue.
Exactly. This corruption here, and
it's undeniable.
The coalition, yeah, it's there. And whether or not you agree with it, that's your choice. I personally am not a fan, but
we've speculated and we've made our personal opinions known.
Yeah.
But any and everything I've said in regards to this conflict, I do feel is derived from very
it's a rational area for sure.
Yeah.
It's
like
rational.
This is completely logical.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take great understanding or military experience to understand. I really feel like these are pretty pragmatic observations about the current conflict. Like all you have to do is look at a map and you can figure this out. Like, oh, those are the mountains. There's the sea. Wait, you're telling me it's this far from the coast of that city? Are you nuts?
Yeah.
And they have missiles? Like, yeah, man. Yeah. And it's just, like I said, if the consent of the governed was given and the American public wanted this to happen, it would already be over.
Yeah.
And we all know that.
Yeah. But we do not have the support of the American people.
Right.
I mean,
And
this is a very water is wet take, or like I'm not worried about it at all. I think a lot of people do agree. This is an unnecessary war, and there's no real winning aspect to it.
No, it's
that simple.
It's profoundly strange.
Mm-hmm.
It's profoundly strange because it's like you understand the motivations for it. Everyone understands why this is happening. And yet they got to come up with a new modern reason for why they want to do this, even though that we know their motivations for wanting to engage in this conflict go back decades.
Mm-hmm.
It's like common knowledge. Common knowledge.
No, dude, it's weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
That's what we get.
Right. It's like, sorry, but my parents fell for that one too.
Yeah.
Like,
shit,
like they said it over and over. We do not want a smoking gun to become a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
We all remember that one. We remember that the leader of that country that shall not be named, who testified in front of Congress and the UN and said, this will be a good idea. It'll make the region safer.
Yeah.
Safer for who? We'll never know. But
well, that is always how it goes, though, in history, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like whoever the winner is, whoever is the one with the most political power and pull, they're going to be the ones that write it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I can see, like putting yourself in the shoes of another country that's being, for lack of a better word, bullied, I guess. It's not, their history book is not written the same as ours. And that's just like what you have to understand. You got to take a step back, an unobjective look. Not saying that I agree with any one side here, but I'm just saying,
I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the profiting of one country comes at the immiseration of another quite often.
Absolutely. That's
however,
just a fact.
However, that doesn't mean that there can't be principles and logic applied to that relationship. It doesn't mean that like just because it's bad, you can do whatever you want, or just because it might be more advantageous to the other, that anything goes.
Yeah.
It's just like, again, after 9/11, we had this sympathy of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now look what we're at. Like it's just, it's just strange, man. And just, like I don't know. I just felt like it was important to have this conversation and document it because our parents couldn't do this, and there's no need to really. Because it's like
because no
one knew they were being lied to, or if they did, everyone called them crazy.
Right, man, dude. To be one of those people that got the last laugh. Although it's kind of one of those situations where you don't want to have the last laugh. You want to be wrong.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
About this whole thing. They're like being right is not going to feel good.
No, I agree. And I've kind of already, I think I've made it clear throughout our friendship and stuff, and kind of in the podcast, because I always try to take kind of a step back.
You and
from
me
big politics.
disagree about a lot.
Yeah, but I always made it clear that I was not a Trump supporter.
Mm-hmm.
Just, outright. But a lot of the stuff that I was saying from the beginning, where I was like, what he's promising is not going to come true, those were things that I was not like hoping to be reality, because I wanted to be proved wrong. It's like, dude, if I'm right, then I'm also fucked. Like, we're all fucked.
Right. A person doing what they say.
Yeah, I hope that he does what he says, but I just don't believe it. And then a lot of the stuff that he promised, didn't turn out to be true. And that's unfortunate. It's not like I'm celebrating, I'm pumping my fist being like, yeah, dude, fucking touchdown for my sports team.
Never has vindication felt so empty.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not a fucking celebration, dude. It just sucks. It's sad.
Right. There's a lot of people saying I told you so about this. And it's just...
I'll never say that, dude. I'll just say I'm glad that you can see what's going on.
Right.
And that's it.
It's just...
Because there's no winning.
The sky isn't blue. The sky isn't blue.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. But yeah, man. I mean, I'll figure out where I put this, if I put this on the old channel or if I make something new. But it was good to have you on and for us to catch up and talk about this. Because again,
This was a
like
great combo, dude.
I'm not this extemporaneous or eloquent with really much anyone else. So it is nice to have these conversations and talk about something of, I guess, import, something that actually kind of matters. I don't know.
It does.
Maybe maybe I'm gassing myself up there too much, but anyways.
At the very least, we were able to, like the number one way to like learn is to actually teach. So a lot of the stuff that you're telling me, like I'm definitely learning, but you're also like solidifying it more with yourself. So at the very least, we gain a better understanding by speaking our minds.
Yeah. Just saying it out loud and like kind of explaining it to someone else just
solidifies it.
It's like, does this make sense what I'm saying? Because it's like, this is very logical, very pragmatic observations, and
I can verify you're not crazy.
Yeah.
I can
Anyways,
verify it.
Yeah. But like, that should be it for us. Thanks everyone for listening. I'll put the links for how you can support the show in the description. Go check out Sterling. It makes great stuff over on his YouTube channel. You also find him on social medias.
Yeah.
IDK Sterling. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun, dude.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Good shit.